It is Sunday morning. Oops, let's try that again. It is Ray Skywalker Sunday morning. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. Oops, that's the wrong button, kids. That's the right button. This morning we're going to play with the latest iteration of Green Heroine's Easy Meditation. Just as in junior high, they taught us to first warm up before exercise and then cool down afterwards, we're going to follow a similar pattern. Let's see, real quick. Let's move on. The view of reality that supports letting go is the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And we're going to explore it with a set of exercises that could be described as Mahayoga's wisdom warm-ups. Please chant with me. Rather than indulge our controlling tendencies with all follies of active visualization, emotion, magic, and belief, we could just recite these wise words in harmony with our breathing and allow our subconscious to do the heavy lifting. Now this here is what us big kids call an editing opportunity. Splendid. Let us therefore sidestep the rigidity that confuses metaphors with statements literal, and relax into the flexibility that savors the chance explaining metaphors as similes. So, here's how this works. Notice the word may. This is not an inference of supplication to an imaginary entity. Au contraire, we are simply using words to guide our own intention. The Buddha was fond of organizing all that could be perceived in terms of the four bases of mindfulness: the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental. We're beginning with circumstances, whose monosyllabic synonym is simply lots. All complex animal life forms on this planet have evolved to think symbolically. Therefore, in every culture, we find figures of speech. Figures of speech can be a powerful form of processing reality. We're going to use the verb melt as a metaphor of impermanence, and we're going to infer, and we're going to use the inference of absorption as a metaphor of interdependence. Finally, just as a forester might fight fire with fire, we're going to fight self-centeredness with self-centeredness, which is an irony most delicious. Please chant with me. May we see how all circumstances or lots could be as impermanent and interdependent, as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this body or form. We now take all these words and allow them to coalesce into just 6 syllables, which we divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. Let's chant. May we feel how all bodies or forms could be as impermanent and interdependent, as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this communicational speech. May we hear how all interpersonal speech could be as impermanent and interdependent, as if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this mind. Now, in addition to all that we previously discussed, let's tackle the idea of emptiness. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, including meditation teachers. Meditation teachers who make emptiness sound difficult or opaque are doing so because they are approaching the subject from a place of literal communication. But emptiness was always supposed to be a figure of speech. Any good English teacher will remind us that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. On the very next page, we're going to explore a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast empty void. Let's begin with the word may. May we feel her while perceiving, emoting, intending, thinking, recalling, and imagining minds could be as impermanent and interdependent, as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, could be non-graspable to the hand. We now prepare to turn to the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, which could be described as Ati Yoga's mindfulness and meditation, and we shall do so after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. And now, let's get back to it. We could think of Ati Yoga as being like a luxury vehicle that we probably don't want to take off-roading. Anu Yoga's energy work provides us with that smooth road we really need to make the most out of mindfulness and meditation. There are many forms of Anu Yoga. My favorite is Mudra Anu Yoga, also known as finger gesture-oriented energy work, which just sounds delightfully salacious, doesn't it? So here's how it works. We're going to play with 4 collections of 8 sets of 8 rounds for a whopping total of 256 rounds. But what is a round? A round is simply one inhalation and one exhalation because, if you don't breathe out, you're going to turn blue, tip over, wiggle funny, and scare the dog. Let's not scare the dog. So every time we inhale, we can advance our right thumb. Over the span of 8 inhalations, our thumb could track thusly, always beginning with the little finger, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We count sets of 8 on our left hand. Again, always beginning with the little finger, just like in judo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do we keep track of the, collections? On our knuckles. So for this, our first collection, we're going to rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger in our lap, both palms facing up so our thumbs can happily count creases. Excuse me, I am the mayor of mucus this morning. Let's see, which button do I want to hit? Let's hit button 9. As a fringe benefit, holding our hands in this manner induces the subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Please chant with me. The nudity of the archetypical couple sporting and tantric union reminds us of the vulnerability so crucial to watching the antics of mind, that is the mindfulness hidden within each inhalation and revealed by the demonstrative pronoun this. What if mindfulness was simply noticing, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly? But noticing what? Noticing mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like. Such as emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. What if the easiest way to do all this was to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation? What if meditation was simply relaxing in harmony with our exhalation to such a degree, causing that which we perceived during our previous inhalation to fleetingly feel a trifle less solid, less permanent, and less defining, thus making it all the more easier to release? And what if the easiest way of doing all this was to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation? So what I think I'll do is redirect the camera so that you can follow along with my fingers if you so desire. right. We now come to our second of 4 collections of 8 sets of 8 rounds. We're going to keep track of this bad boy by resting the great knuckle at the base, at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger in our lap. Please chant with me. The translucence of the tantric yogis depicted in paintings reminds us of the fleeting experience of impermanence and non-graspability, so common to the relaxation into the nature of mind that is meditation, hidden within each exhalation and revealed by the monosyllabic verbies. Yes, the essence of mindfulness is to simply notice, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. But notice what? Notice mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting, and smelling, as well as emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. And the easiest way to do all this is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. Meditation is even easier. Meditation is simply relaxing in harmony with our exhalation to such a degree that which we perceived during our previous inhalation could fleetingly seem a trifle less solid, less permanent, and less defining, giving us the wiggle room to let go. The easiest way to practice that is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. Good morning and welcome to our meditation practice. Whoopsie, wrong button. So we come now, whoopsie. So just as you would not drive a luxury, you wouldn't strive to drive a luxury electric vehicle over off-roading. Similarly, we drive our mindfulness and meditation over the highway afforded to us by Ana Yoga's energy work. And the simplest energy work, the most efficient energy work, is finger gesture-oriented energy work. So in addition to counting 8 sets on our left hand and 8 rounds on our right hand, we're going to keep track of this, our third collection, by resting the middle finger, the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger in our lap, palms up, so that our thumbs can happily count creases. Please, oopsie, look, an editing opportunity. Please chant with me. The beauty of Amagasiddhi Tara Karma Mudra reminds us of the highest love, which is not the product of contrite focus or analysis. And that would be this region here and this region here. But rather the spontaneous side effect of mindfulness and meditation, the calm or anxious and aggressive amygdala and stimulator our empathetic anterior cingulate gyrus. So, the Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, but no, not in the fun and tingly way. And so it should come as a little surprise that 90% of meditation teachers and people at large tend to be rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, and oh so superstitious. These are the people who will implore their students to actively focus and actively analyze. But relying upon such regions as the medial prefrontal cortex or the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex will wind up stimulating our amygdala, the seat of aggression and anxiety, which is darkly ironic, is it not? Fortunately, there are more fish to fry when it comes to the central nervous system. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. The sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to notice in a very specific way, to help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Notice what? Notice mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. Now, this could seem rather complex. Fortunately, we can do all of this simply by silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. But what do we do with all that we noticed? That brings us to meditation. Because every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our parasympathetic nervous system ensconced within both the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release, to such a degree that which we perceived during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less solid, less permanent, and less defining. Once again, there's an easy way to practice this. Silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. So in a nutshell, as we inhale and exhale, silently and mentally, we recite this and ease to thus experience effortless mindfulness and meditation. Gotta wet my whistle. Remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Don't wait till the end. Rather, strike while the iron is hot. pardon. At long last, we come to our fourth of 4 collections of our left hand's 8 sets of our right hand's 8 rounds or reps. And to keep track of this 4th collection, we could rest the tip of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger in our lap, thus inviting our subtle energies to coalesce at our crown. One moment. The stability with which Amoga City sits and the abandon with which Tara sports reminds us of the scented spontaneity with which your choices, utterances, and deeds could flow in the effortless effort of the 6th-fold of the Buddha's 8-fold path. All right, here we go. Good morning and welcome to the live stream. Here's the essence. Here's how it works. The late Tulku Thondup taught that mindfulness is simply watching the play of mind, watching vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, as mind perceives, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. All of this can be practiced simply by silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. The late Chogdud Tulku taught that meditation is simply relaxing into the nature of mind. How does that work? As we relax in harmony with our exhalation, all we perceived during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel a trifle less solid, less permanent, and less defining, thus making it easier to let go. And the easiest way to practice that is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. As always, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist meditation, or their application, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Don't wait till the end. Strike while the iron is hot. And now we switch gears from silent meditation to mantra meditation. Let us chant an adaptation of the Dharani explaining this mantra's meaning. Let me go back and so here. Oopsie, that is what we call a typo. Okay, let's explore an adaptation of Atisha's Dharani explaining this mantra's meaning. O Mama Jatara, swift and courageous, you drive away all fears with Tutare's meditation. Heroine fulfilling all ends with Tutare's mindfulness, thus worth a suitable, so how may it be so? So it's very simple. As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite, relaxing into this. What's this? This is whatever we notice, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. It could be a sight, a sound, a sensation, a flavor, a scent, or the like. It could be an emotion, an intention, a thought, a memory, or an imagination, or an imagining. It could be any point on any spectrum, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. During our exhalation, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 10-syllable mantra 3 times per breath. So here's the trick. We treat each finger, upon each finger we count only 1 breath. Upon each set of creases, we count 1 recitation. Let's go. Om Tare Dare Sowa, 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 Om Tare Dare Sowa. Om Tare Dare Dure Suwa, 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 Om Tare Dare Dure Suwa. So loving kindness comprises 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And just as we began with Mahayoga's wisdom warm-up, we conclude with Mahayoga's compassionate cool-down, which could be described as mantra loving kindness. Please chant with me. Rather than indulge or controlling tendencies with all follies of active visualization, emotion, magic, and belief. We could just recite these wise and kind words in harmony with our breathing and allow our subconscious to do the heavy lifting. Let us therefore sidestep the rigidity that confuses metaphorical statements literal, and relax into the flexibility that savors the chance explaining metaphors as similes. To keep track of our second and third collections of 12 repetitions, we could touch the tip of our left thumb to our left little finger and rest this left hand upon our left thigh. Let us explore how mind could be conventionally lucid yet ultimately empty. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever minds we experience during our inhalation could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined settable time comprised only of light. Om Dhani Dhani Dhuri Suwa, 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 Om Dhani Dhani Dhuri Suwa. May we be a font of blessing for all upon who we think or who think of us. May all minds of all beings be as peacefully enlightened as the might of a real or imagined Buddha symbolized by a clear one syllable seed or bija mantra. Om Dhani Dhani Dhuri Suwa, 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 Om Dhani Dhani Dhuri Suwa. The mental morality of kind intention is the second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. To keep track of our fourth and fifth collections of 12 repetitions, we could touch the tip of the left thumb to the left ring finger and rest this left hand upon our left thigh. Doing so could gently invite our subtle energies to coalesce at the navel region of our abdomen. Let us explore how communication and our experience of the interpersonal could be conventionally resounding, yet ultimately empty. As we relax into our exhalation, all interpersonal dynamics we had during our inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra comprised only of light. One moment. Om Dhare Nunane Nurisawa, 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 Om Dhare Nunane Nurisawa. May we be a font of blessing for all who we listen to, speak to, or speak of, and for all who listen to us, or speak to us, or speak of us. May all relationships or speech of all beings know be as joyfully loving as a real or imagined Buddha's speech symbolized by a multisyllabic mantra. Om Dhare Nunane Nurisawa, 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 Om Dhare Nunane Nurisawa. The interpersonal morality of kind communication is the third fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Welcome to the tail end of this morning's group practice. We've come now to the 6th and 7th collections of 8 mantra repetitions. We're going to keep track of that by touching the tip of our left thumb to our left middle finger and resting this left hand upon our left thigh. Doing so gently invites our subtle energies to coalesce at our chest. Let us explore how our bodies can be conventionally sensual yet ultimately non-graspable. Please chant with me. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever bodies or forms we've held during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a Yidam type of enlightenment comprised only of lights. Like a rainbow or a hologram. We now take all these words and allow them to coalesce into just 8 syllables that we divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. During our inhalation, we recite those 8 syllables. During our exhalation, we physically relax as best we can, while striving to chant this 10-syllable mantra 3 times per breath. Om Dare Nane Nurizuwa, 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 Om Dare Nane Nurizuwa. May we be a font of blessing for all who we touch or who touch us. Let's chant. May all bodies, all forms of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health represented by Buddha's statuary, depicting the blissful body of a real or imagined Yidam type of enlightenment such as green heroine. Om Dare Nane Nurizuwa, 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 Om Dare Nane Nurizuwa. The physical morality of kind conduct is the 4th fold of the Buddha's 8-fold path. We keep track of the 8th and 9th of 9 collections of our right hand's 12 mantra repetitions. By touching the tip of our left thumb to the tip of our left index finger, and then resting this left hand upon our left thigh, thus inviting our subtle energies to coalesce at our crown. Welcome to the final portion of this morning's practice. We're going to take a moment to chant a passive contemplation, exploring how our circumstances could be conventionally appearing, yet ultimately non-graspable. Please chant with me. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever circumstances or lots we have seen during our inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise, pure land or vati comprised only of light. So we take all these words and allow them to coalesce into just 8 syllables that we divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. Now remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting or philosophy or meditation, type your question in great detail in the chat window. Strike while the iron's hot. Don't wait for later. So during our inhalation, we silently and mentally recite all these 8 syllables. During our exhalation, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 10-syllable mantra 3 times per breath. Om Dharenu Nanenu Nizuwa, 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 Om Dharenu Nanenu Nizuwa. May we be a font of blessing for all who we see or who see us. Together. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have that safe fortune or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land or vati. So, folks need safety. Folks need safety from sexism and racism and homophobia and exploitation. People need safety from fascism and jingoism and genocide. We're now going to take all these words and allow them to coalesce into just 6 syllables that we're going to separate or divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. During our inhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite these 6 syllables. During our exhalation, we're going to physically relax as best we can, while striving to chant this 10-syllable mantra 3 times per breath. Om Dharenu Nanenu Nizuwa, 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 Om Dharenu Nanenu Nizuwa. The circumstantial morality of kind commerce, forsaking cruelty and competition and embracing kindness and cooperation is the fifth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. I hope you found this to be beneficial. And if you feel that I've earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. In approximately 10 3/4 hours, I would like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.